Where's this at?
I think they said it was in California, but there's some city in Ohio. Meaning like 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to enter in a lot of those. It's some
So
of these
your wife,
newer
that's-
facilities.
she
It's
is-
really hard to beat.
Said
them.
I've come to Kroger's
Yes,
to
sir.
get away from everybody, and he said I've run into about 3 of you.
5:30, we're ready.
Meeting to order?
I wanted you guys to take a look at the delinquents. There's some copies hanging around.
Anybody else need a copy of the agenda?
I'll take one. Another piece of paper I have is if you ever have any questions or anyone ever asked you about fluoride in our drinking water. Some people have a lot of questions about that. This kind of answers the questions. There's several, questions here like, does fluoridation benefit adults or only children? Is fluoridated water still needed? Ending fluoridation away to save tax dollars? Is fluoridation drinking water safe? Why did the federal government reduce the levels of fluoride recommended for drinking water? And it kind of has answers to questions that you may get if you're out and about or anything like that. I also wanted to show you some things that we're working on here, if I can bring it up. Right now, we're working on about 3 different items on the iPad here. And benefits of this is when the guys are out in their truck and they need to locate a water box in someone's yard, what we used to do, we used to drive back to the water distribution plant, water distribution facility, get a card, take it out, find the location and so forth. So what we're working on now is we can, like here's all the different streets, they'll be in alphabetical order. And like, let's say you go on Fieldson Drive, and the tap card comes up, and you blow it up. You can look at where the water box is, how far it is from the street, so forth. So the guys aren't driving back and forth, so that gives you all that information. The other 2 items we're working on this is SCADA for the plant, where we can actually look at the plant running to see what processes are running and so forth. Another thing is GIS. We're trying to put on these is where we have a map of all the water lines, wastewater lines. So if the guys are out in the truck, they have the information right here in this little tab, instead of making a lot of trips back and forth. So far it's worked out real well. We're still learning on doing the SCADA. We're still learning on doing some of the stuff. We did, the mayor allowed me to purchase a couple of these. I have one, and John Appleman has one in the distribution truck. So once
What
we,
are they called?
well, it's just an iPad.
So, yeah, it's a tablet.
It's a tablet.
So you got a total of 2 in your.
Yeah, there's 2 in our department right now. Eventually, someday I'd like to get one in maybe the wastewater. What also helps is if we do get this. Yeah. If we get the GIS on this, what we can do if John Appleman and also SCADA, if he has a main break and he's out in the truck, he can monitor the tank levels while we're losing water to see if we can fix this main break under pressure or if we're going to have to isolate it and shut it down. When we shut it down, of course, everybody has a boil.
Hey, John, let me ask you something before I forget it. I was going up Keller Drive yesterday, and it's down about halfway on the right side. There's a fire hydrant laying over, you know about it.
I know.
Okay.
That was actually one of them that that was not turned in. I don't know how the guy ever got the car out of there. There was no accident report or anything on it. So they hit it, left, and never said anything to anybody.
Where at on Keller?
It's,
On the right side, about halfway down between the railroad track and Urban Lake.
Okay.
Which one was shot?
this was actually a promotion they were having. This was $150. Yep.
It's a Samsung.
It's through.
Oh, I was gonna say.
It's through Verizon, but this has full internet capability too when you're out in the truck.
It's not too much, it's not many gallons of gas to
Yeah.
pay for it.
That's
for sure.
So, and then we also have, like in the wastewater plant, when we have our superintendent is out of town. So he would be able to take if you got an alarm or something, he could take a look at the yeah, he could take a look at the plant and everything there. So, it's a tool, but by no means is it a way to check the plant. I mean, there's still a lot of things that aren't monitored on here that needs to be checked on, every 4 to 6 hour basis, but, it is a tool that'll help us.
Just out of curiosity, where do we stand with those units that they drive by and read the meters?
We're. Well, actually, it was the end of last year. We're probably, we have, about 1,300 accounts. We're probably about halfway, maybe. About halfway.
We get, what, about 100 to 150 a year, maybe?
Yeah, it's gonna take a while for you to do it, that one, but yeah, that's. Okay, a couple things, we might as well get started. I don't really have an agenda, but I'll kind of go through things with you. The mayor has one here, and I'll kind of bring things up to date on where we're at on certain things. I want to mention that in 2010, the water and sewer system, we had a rate analysis. It was discussed by the mayor and myself and Heath Alexander at the time that it would be a good idea that every 4 years we have a rate analysis. And what this does is the purpose of it is a plan was to incorporate and anticipate debt associated with city capital improvement programs, as well as analyze the feasibility of rebalancing water and sewer rates. Starting in 2010, we had 6 projects that we wanted to do at $3.35 million over the next 3 years. I'm happy to say that all those projects have been completed. The West End Water Tower is completed. The water clarifier upgrade is very close to completion. The Lincoln View Booster Station upgrade is completed. Franklin Avenue water line improvement is completed. The relocation of the water line that went over top the bridge on Hopewell Drive, well, that's water and sewer both, that's completed. State Route 79 water line, the new 12-inch, it runs on the east side of the road, that's all been completed. So what this study does, and we're getting ready to start a new one.
Now, who did this study?
Malcolm Perney.
Malcolm Perney, they are called Arcadis now, Arcadis, they were bought out by another company.
He wasn't still there?
No.
No
longer with him.
I don't know if he retired or got let go, but he is now working for the city of Columbus. He just got that appointment. Okay, so we look at both water and sewer on this, and I'll discuss a little bit about the sewer that was done too. 2014, we're due for another rate analysis. The purpose is, again, to update the water and sewer utility financial analysis and projections. We look at our debt, they look at our debt, they look at projects that need to be done, they look at what income's gonna come in, and then they try to structure the rate so that we can make improvements over a period of time to upgrade things. Number one big thing that needs to be probably done in the next 4 years is the water tower dual feed to the west side of town. That is also.
Talking about WCLT tower there.
That's the new WCLT tower, and that's also the dual feed. And you're looking at about $1.3 million on that project.
Don't we already, to the west side, I'm sorry.
We completed the one to the east side, which was
Yeah.
part of that Franklin Avenue and all that.
Yeah. How much is the tower in that dollar figure then?
I'll show it a little later, but it's $750,000.
Okay.
Also, another big item I was looking at is supplying water to the Lincoln Township area. I don't know if that's something that we're gonna do or if we're gonna pursue, but It may be something we wanna look at. Basically, we may do it in pieces. We could like do Lemar Heights, which is our closest, and I'll explain that here in a little bit, why that would be an advantage. I don't foresee the city taking this project on themselves. I think we need to get involved with the county on this and see if there's any money that's available to provide Lemar Heights with water in that area. Sue Spiker is, she takes care of some of the grants and the different things that we got a grant on the Franklin Avenue line and so forth. I'm meeting with ADR, an engineering firm, in a couple weeks to discuss how we would approach this, how we would go about what would be the easiest way to supply water to them. But anyway, supplying water just to Lemar Heights right now is about $589,000 is what I would estimate. That's a pump station and water lines in the whole addition. There's anywhere from 60 to 65 possible customers there. Estimated monthly income per month would be about $4,900. That's based on double rates on an average
How many users?
of 63.
100%.
That would be 100%.
Now, EPA have any? No?
That's what we're gonna deal into, you know, my next thing is to see what we have at the county level, what we have at the EPA level, if there's any way that we could help, what we could do. I know there's a lot of interest in making these smaller communities that have, well, they're not actually communities, or additions. They're smaller additions with lots less than a quarter of an acre with a septic system and a well on it. To me, it's a no-brainer whenever you have that many people confined in one space. Mayor missed some of this last time, but I went through all the different, this is the Lemar Heights area, this was, what we discussed. This was people that weren't interested, maybe, and interested, 38% interested, or maybe 62. It was almost a 60-40 split throughout the whole thing, everything was 60-40. But I guarantee you, if you put a water line in there, you may get that 30 to 40% right away. And then I'll bet you within 10 years, you'll have one. That's just,
Isn't there a,
that's not a guarantee, but that's a pretty good thought.
isn't there an EPA lot on those smaller than 2 acres?
You see, now it's not even legal, they can't even do it. I mean, they could put in addition today, like Lemar Heights right now.
You can't.
It wouldn't be allowed to. You have to have a minimum of 2
You know,
acres.
but what I was gonna say is, if their well goes bad, they can't re-drill, can they?
You know, I don't know. I would
Seems like
assume.
something I read that, or,
I don't see, I don't know if they're allowed to, you know, for them to be out of water. Now, if there's water available there, they probably would not allow, they'd probably make them tap onto the city. I would say, before they allowed them to re-drill another
That's the
well.
right answer.
Yeah.
There's probably utilities there with the curb.
I know in wastewater, if you're within 200 foot of a sewer line, you have to tap on. But I don't know about water, but I would say that I wouldn't want, if I was an inspector and I was inspecting water and there was a water line running out front and the guy wanted to drill a well on his property, I want a quarter of an acre with a septic system in it. No, I wouldn't allow it. That's just my feeling. This kind of gives you a general idea. Here we are. Here's the city of Heath. This is, to me, with Irving Lake, this is Franklin. This clump of houses right here is Lemar Heights. That's no further than we have to go to supply them water.
Only one way in there, one way out of there.
One way in. Yep.
This is the most densely populated, closest proximity to all the.
To us right now.
All the borders, west side, east side, south side. That's number one.
That's number one.
I think when your dad was still there, he checked, put them out there at one time, and it was about the same percentage that wanted to annex the city and others didn't want to.
I got, you know, I'll get into this in a minute. I have a letter that I want to send out with, you know, we did the survey. It's just questions that they sent in to us, comments, and it answers those answering those questions. So I'll run through those with you real quick. The next slide shows the current estimated cost. Kind of broke it down. New WCLP tank of 250,000 gallons, $750,000. Fuel feed to the west side of town. This is going out west now. This is so that we can get more water quicker on the west side to our industrial areas and anything that we would develop out west. You're looking at about 600,000, about total 1.3 in this.
This is the new study you're talking about.
This is the new stuff.
Silo or.
We'll get into that here in a moment. Engineering, I would like to, whether the rate study allows us to do it, but personally, I'd like to try to do the engineering in 2015, start the construction in 2016. I know we have a lot of debt service coming out at the end of 2017, probably close to $5 million from the water plant. So, you know, looking at all these things, it may be doable to do this.
Who's gonna do the depth survey and analysis like we did 4 years ago?
That's what we wanna do.
So
We
it's
wanna,
falling off, available.
we wanna give them an idea of projects that are on the horizon, what their costs would be. Maybe give them an idea of how we would want to either finance those or pay for them, you know, just pay them off when they're done. They'll then, 4 years ago, what they did was they just took some basic factors like set amount increase each year for materials and manpower and all that to estimate, you know, what our costs would be, and then they base the rate structure off of that and the anticipated usage. And I think, John, one of the things we gotta be careful of, and then, I mean, like we did 4 years ago, I would strongly recommend that this body adopt whatever rate structure they, you know, have as according to that plan. Otherwise, A, we've wasted money on the plan, and B, we're not gonna move forward with these projects because I'm not gonna leave a gap where we don't know where the money's coming from. But if I remember right, John, one of the things we gotta be careful of this time, we overshot a little bit on the usage, didn't we?
We did.
And okay.
We tried, we actually, they got 2 years benefit of bringing rates down in the
On the wastewater side.
And we froze the rates in wastewater for 2 years. But then on the third year, they were showing a shortfall in 2015, which would be next year.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of discontinue that for a little bit. Also, I know he's probably explained to you about how he's gonna pay the $500,000 gallon above ground tank off this year. He floated a loan for 3 years at around 1% interest. Now that's accumulating and he's gonna try to get that debt should be coming off too. So I wanted you guys to be aware of that. I want to talk a little bit about routine maintenance at the water plant in 2014. This is stuff that's not long-term, it's not stuff, this is just regular stuff that we're planning on accomplishing this year. Filter rebuild of 4 filters.
We gotta do that again?
Well, we did 4 of them, and about 3 years ago, we did that ourselves.
Yeah.
We did 50-pound bags.
Yeah.
Okay, now the other 2, it's been 16 years since 1998 since we did the other 4
So it's not
new
the
ones.
same, okay.
Yeah. It's actually, this is the filters that was built in 1957. These 2 filters were built in 1969, and these 4 filters were built in 1998. This is, I think 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So we're gonna be, the material inside the filters, inside the filter beds, I budgeted for this year to be removed, and then new filter material put back in.
We're doing it the same way that we did as far as doing it ourselves? No?
I would like to, Mayor, but the guys, I don't think can handle it.
Really?
A lot of the guys are older.
I mean, we got more people on the distribution side than we did 3 years ago when we did
We
this.
have a few more, but it took a toll on the guys. I mean, there was tons of material, 50-pound bags, and I mean, I got Steve Blob down there, I got Mike Hammond, he has back problems, I got Bob Hoskison that's got
70 years old.
43 years with the city. I just don't think it's gonna happen this time. I mean, I'd like it to if I had, I don't even feel like I could go out there and hump that many bags again. I mean, it's an enormous amount of 50-pound bags, and it really wears on. What we'll do is, we'll have a company come in and then we'll blow it in, through the sacks and stuff, and it's just a real quick process. It's gonna cost us a little more to do these 4 filters, but I think in the long run, by the time you figure what we're playing and everything else, I don't know if we would really come out ahead.
Alright.
So anyway, so I talked about the filter meter replacement, water plant improvement updates, what we're on right now. I don't know, these pictures pulled. There's the actual new clarifier. There's the support steel structure they're starting to put inside of the clarifiers now. Just kind of long, tedious, cold. They're really picking up speed now. This is the turbine that goes inside that does the flash mix of the chemicals inside the unit. Also, this is the barrel where the chemicals are maintained. If you ever looked at a clarifier before, you walk out there and look at it, there's a mix in the middle of it. It's lime and alum, and then on the outside, this portion here, is where flocculation and sedimentation takes place. So, looking real forward, new drive units set up on top. They're moving right along. Today, they actually started installing some of the collector weirs. It's the supports underneath so that they can shore it up, and then they weld that in place. Another picture of the crane and the equipment that's there on site. There's the duct bank of the electricity going into the new clarifier coming out of the building. This is, they're utilizing our garage down there, actually painting some parts inside the garage because the weather's so cold that they wanted to try to keep moving forward. So that kind of explains where we're at on the water plant expansion. I was in the town of Pleasantville the other day. Is anyone that worked Pleasantville? Yeah. Okay. And you know the mayor?
I did.
Okay. You know, they have a couple water towers. I drive through there about once a week, going to another location. And that is the old 4-legged tower type that we took down, if you remember right, on where Kroger's was. We actually toppled that down. And what I don't like about these towers is, and I want to explain to you briefly, is that there's a lot of places to collect water and so forth, and that rains, you know, all the tension and different things that are down below this. I think it has a tendency to collect rust, basically, over a period of time. This is the same place in Pleasantville, but this is what they call the old witch's hat type style, where if you look at this from a distance and you look from the, you know, it almost looks like a hat sitting on top of the water tank. Those are very old style tanks. This is probably one of the newer ones of that style. Hebron had one in the middle of town for years before the witch's hat. There it is from a distance.
Where's that one at?
This is Pleasantville too. They're both in Pleasantville. They had 2 towers there. This is the pedosphere style tank, which is what I'm kind of recommending for us. What I like about this is, you know, it's shaped nice. It's got good support. All your 250,000 gallons would be up in the air, so you're getting the maximum. Maximum pressure from that. You actually walk inside. There's some storage in the bottom of here if you wanted to store something in there. Say on the WCLT that in town. There's every 30 foot, how you get to the top of this is you walk inside and then there's a railing, and every 30 foot there's a platform to stop, to rest, and then you go 30 foot more, and then there's another platform, 30 foot more to you. And you'll go right, and then at this place, there's a couple odd observations where you can look at the bottom of the tank. You can open it up and go out if you want to. Then there's a hollow column that goes through the middle of the tank where the ladder is. That's how you get to the top of the tank. So you're climbing, like there'll be water on all sides of you while you're climbing up through the middle of this tank. Then there's a hatch on top of it, and you can get out into it, whatever you want to do.
I don't see it.
People that want to paint or whatever, you know, or any kind of maintenance needs to be done to it, welding, that's how they would, and then they would cantilever off the sides of that to paint it. It's pretty interesting. how to do that.
That's called a pedestal.
That's called a pedosphere.
Pedesphere.
That's,
Which is this right next to it.
yeah, if you go to this next slide, it shows that this is a pedosphere. It's elevated storage. Current cost if I would buy one today of a 250,000 gallon tank, $750,000 installed.
That includes installation cost too.
That's installed. That's putting it in place. That's not hooking it up, it's putting it in place. This is a composite storage tank that we talked about last week, which doesn't make a 250,000 gallon tank. They're pretty expensive too. That's where this whole bottom portion of this is concrete and this is steel. Fluted column elevated tanks, 250,000 gallon tank. This is the steel portion on the bottom, and then the steel on the tank on the top. Cost of a 250,000 gallon tank on that style of a tank is about $1,200,000. Ground storage. We talked about this. Personally, if it was me, I would put a $500,000 gallon tank there because we've talked about this before. When you put this style of tank up, you're only getting pressure from the top portion of this tank. Okay, all this on the bottom is just used to elevate the other water in the air. So to buy a 500,000 gallon tank is about $1,315,000. So really, you're not really saving anything. There's more water there, but you're using water to get height to give yourself pressure, and that's what I could never. To me, it's. I wanted to go through the water survey real quick with you. If there's any questions on the style of tank or anything like that. Quick questions. Can we still use our well? This is answers to questions from the water survey. Like the council, that was one of the questions. Yes, as long as it is separated from the public water system. Outside watering, washing vehicles and gardening, etc. You can still have a well as long as it's separated from our system. What is your source of water? Our water is well water that is deep aquifer averaging 250 feet below the ground surface. Would you consider providing sewer? Yes, I put it, it's a possibility. I'm not gonna say no. What does the tapping fee include? Basically, you are buying into the system. This would help pay for the water line running in the front of your house and also the tap line that runs inside of the right-of-way in your yard where a valve would exist. From that point, you would be required to run the service line into your home. The service line is maintained by the homeowner. Now that's what I talked to a lady about today. She said that they are giving grants. Licking County is right now. So if you run that valve to inside their property line, sometimes they can get grants for places to run it into your home. Pay. Yeah. And maybe
What department of the county is doing that?
I got her email and I'll email that to you. Her first name's Brenda, and she's in with Sue Spiker. She's kind of like a little division off of that. I don't know. I couldn't remember her last name, but I did talk to her today. And then after I left, I thought, shoot, I can't remember what her last name was. I knew you guys would ask me. But I'll get you that information. But yeah, they're more on like residential homes, people that need help getting utilities.
Yeah.
She's involved in that, and they would be willing to help pay for that line to be ran in. I don't know if it's a full grant, if it's a partial grant.
We have 38%
Well,
that kind of information.
some of the feedback I got back from the survey was, well, you lied to us, you didn't tell us that you had to run it from the right away into our house. Well, most people know that, and I didn't, but this will clear that up so that they know. But I will have to add something to that, saying that there could be possibly help available through such and such, so, Licking County, and whatever division she's in. Well, okay, what would it cost to run a water line from the valve box to the home? I would estimate $7.50 per foot. So that's if you had a contractor run from the valve box in the right of way into your house. That would probably be about a going rate. Do you need to enter my house to read the meter? No, all meters are read from the outside. What type of testing is done on city water? The EPA, which monitors all testing, is more stringent than bottled water testing. inorganic, radiological, synthetic organics, asbestos, coliform disinfectants or byproducts, and volatile organics are a few of the tests that I ran on our water. What are the tapping fees in other communities for a 3/4 inch residential? Newark's $2,600, Eagle's $2,200 outside the city limits, Granville's $2,136, but does not allow tapping outside the city limits. Southwest Licking Community Water is $5,746 for a tap, 3/4, and Heath is $2,500. Do we have to tap onto your water system? No, you don't have to tap on it. We're not gonna force anybody to tap on that doesn't want to tap on it. Do you think a public water system would increase our home value? Yes. In most cases, having a public water system is more reliable for homeowners, and having fire protection, safe drinking water is a definite value when purchasing a home.
Any realtor appraiser would absolutely.
I know I would have a hard time buying a home outside of a well, not knowing what's coming out of that well. Does the city want to annex your township? No. For the city to maintain your roads, provide police, and fire protection, it would cost the city more money than it would take it. Please feel free to contact me with any further questions you might have. I want to thank those who completed the survey. And, so this is what I'd like to mail out to the people that, you know, that actually surveys.
I just have a small suggestion,
Yeah.
just to make it a little easier to read.
Sure.
Maybe distinguish between the question and the answer by making one bold and the other one not, or something, just.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to show this guy.
Yeah, I just think it would stand out more that it's.
Yeah, that's good. Any other suggestions?
Maybe a little bit, well, I know you're probably trying to get onto one page.
Yeah, I know. It looks like to me, if I do any more explaining, I mean, I could go smaller.
Here's
print,
what you
but
can do. You could take your margins and reduce your margins so you can push your header up, push your footer down, and maybe space out the paragraphs just a little bit.
Okay.
That and the difference in bold and regular text ought to differentiate the different questions and
That'll
questions from the answers.
I hate to do more than one page because then people have tendency.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah.
idea to try to keep.
But I do feel, I also thought maybe we might want to put this on our website, and people can refer to it too, if they, might want to in the future, if we get it straightened around. But I'd like to try to get this done next month.
Do we still owe this feedback also to the Licking Township trustees? Remember this all?
I gave them, yes, I did send them some information on, I had them, all these charts, I
Yeah.
gave them about, I told them it's percentage split 60-40 about, so they do have that information, but then I'll also send them.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
You put it to me. Finish on that.
Yeah, I could try and do something.
Keep it on
Yeah.
one page. 10 minutes.
Yeah, I need to add the grant information.
Yeah, let's find out what the information is on
I
that.
will.
Is there a time frame for it? Is there,
Deadline.
Well, she's the one that called me.
Yeah.
Well, she actually called John Groff first, and then John referred him to me because she had read in the paper that we were thinking about supplying water. And she says that she has the ability to help people run the service line from the box in.
Okay.
So, any information that we can get out to these people that's a possibility.
Yeah.
We need to include it in with this letter. And it may be, like you said, Jeff, something on the back, or maybe a second page, or maybe, I do think we could send 11 by 14, right, Mayor? Too, if we wanted to go that route.
You mean mail it to them?
Well, shoot, I'm thinking the bills. I'm thinking something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house is 100 foot wide of the road.
They may pay it.
What's that?
I said, just bill them, they may pay it.
Yeah, anyway, we'll get it out there.
You're gonna give them the wrong idea.
Okay. So we went over that. Just kind of a brief summary of the water survey. People interested, we had interested maybe 57, not interested 87. Survey sent out was 282. So 282 surveys sent out, 144 surveys received. We received back about 51% return on the survey, which I didn't think was too bad for a survey. I mean, I was shocked. We talked about this last time. 57 interested or maybe 87 not interested, 40% residents interested or maybe interested, 60% not. That's where we ended up. I kind of wanted to show, a little bit here of what we're talking about. You know, like I said, we talked about, this here, where, you know, we almost cover 3 sides of this area. I was talking to Brenda today, and I told her that, you know, we cover 3 sides. I said, if you look at the Heath map, it almost looks like, well, what do we do if we get to supply these people? People water, and shouldn't this be, you know, extended on out? Other possibilities for future development, would be this area here, also going out west would be, off of Thornwood Drive west would be a possible area. What do you call that, Lake Road? Is that what you call that?
We go.
Like, this would be
That's Lake Drive going out there.
going out Liberty. If you go out Liberty and go out from Lake, that's Lake Drive. I mean, that would be an area that, you know, we talked about in the future too. So.
As long as you got a loop, right? You definitely want to try to get a loop.
You want to try to get a loop, you know, sometimes it takes a while to get a loop. I mean, we got places in the city that don't have it. But, I mean, we flush them on a periodic basis, make sure that fresh water, plus we have pretty good amount of consumption, so. Okay, that's water. Any questions on water? We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about wastewater here. Major projects, accomplished in the last 4 years. In 2010, we went through phase 1, improvements at the wastewater plant. What that consisted of is new blowers, new screen buildings, new DO instrumentation, new waste activated sludge pumps, new influent raw piping, and standby power for the solids facilities. Did I leave anything out? That was something.
Can't think right now anyway.
What it is we have aeration tanks at the wastewater plant, and in those aeration tanks, we grow microorganisms and bugs. We can dial that in so that that tank has just the right amount of dissolved oxygen in it with these new blowers.
Just DO is dissolved
Dissolved oxygen. So we can put just the right amount of dissolved oxygen in that tank. Right?
Correct.
Want to make sure. Anyway, 2012, we added stainless steel jet aeration to the digesters. That's something we did out of our replacement fund. We replaced the old aeration system in the digesters. We put in all new stainless steel aeration system in there in 2012, and we upgraded the digester system. 2013, which is last year, we got rid of 2 lift stations. 2 lift stations were removed for better efficiency. They cut maintenance costs. Nick knows all about those lift stations and all about the removal on them. Right? Nick was the on-site inspector.
He
Okay.
didn't wear out his lounge chair, he was sitting and watching.
He did. I had to go over a couple times and wake him up and throw rocks at him, but other than that, we were all right.
Good thing he's wearing his hard hat. at the
Yeah, he's
top.
wearing his hard hat.
Kept the sun out of his eyes.
Nick did a good job. Good job. We got really good. They did a good job for us, and we got good records on them. Okay. Phase 2. I don't know if you guys remember, but what we did was we did a study back in 2007 where we talked about the different phases. We had phase 1, which was the big phase, where we did all the upgrades that I mentioned here. Then we had phase 2, which is a replacement phase. We're in phase 2 right now. And what we do is we have what we call a replacement fund. In that replacement fund, there's money that builds up. And as we see, like a pump that needs replaced, or we have a water line or sewer line that needs repaired at the wastewater plant, or anything that needs to be replaced, it's worn out its life, which in a wastewater plant, 10, 12 years of a piece of equipment in a wastewater plant is a long time. So,
You never do that.
in that fund is what we use to the replacement, and that is what carries us through on phase 2. That's what phase 2 was designed for, the 3 phases. Phase 3 is when we have to go through, let's say we have an industry that moves into town. They're gonna be wanting us to treat a lot of wastewater. Or we have a couple big housing additions that's going in, something like that. Then that's when phase 3 will kick in. That's when you actually start seeing the expansion in the wastewater plant becoming bigger. So all that'll happen in the future. I don't know if I'll be here, but it's eventually gonna. Okay, project, that we are currently working on for projects, that's gonna be completed in 2014 at the wastewater plant right now. New windows to be installed in the main building. That has been approved, and that will take place probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Painting of clarifier per engineering specifications. I'm having Hazen and Sawyer write up some specifications to paint the clarifiers. It's been, I'm gonna guess about 20 years since those clarifiers. They've never been painted, so they need to get painted. New drive to be installed on the clarifier, one of the clarifiers. We purchased a new, mayor approved money to purchase a new clarifier drive system that we have as a spare, so that if one of those drives goes out, we can put a new drive in and then take that one off, rebuild it, and have it on as a spare. We don't have that ability right now. New chemical feed building roof. Every year I put a new roof on, and I change it from an asphalt roof to a metal roof. So we're about 3/4 of the way done at the wastewater plant. So the roof that's gonna be done is a chlorine roof, or they call it the chemical roof.
He was there to measure that.
He was in the major,
What'd you say, Nick?
The
We're gonna
gentleman
measure the roof on
measured
that
the
building.
Yeah.
And then, because we got rid of one of our lift stations, we're gonna take that generator, two of our lift stations. The one lift station that had a generator on it, we removed that generator, set it in, the guys poured a pad and everything for it. I think I showed you stuff a while back on that. Anyway, the new generator's been set on the new pad, and we are in the process of hooking that up. So now, I think we have how many stations without generators? We only have 2 now. At Swainford and 30th Street. No,
30th Street.
does 30th
Yeah.
Street have one?
Yeah, Swainford, you're right. Swainford and 30th Street.
It's Swainford and 30th, and then we have a portable unit that we can take between those 2 locations.
Right.
And if they're close together. So if we'd have a major power outage, we still have the ability to get the sewage down to the wastewater plant. So we only have, with the generator that's mobile, and it only has to go between Swainford Drive and 30th Street, right by the corporation limits, going into north. There's a lift station there. So, right there, it takes care of the Gooden complex in the back area, basically is what that was put in for.
And Swainford Drive has very small usage on it.
We're gonna try to eliminate that at some point.
We did a study on that, on all the lift stations to find out what we could eliminate within a reasonable amount of money. The 2 lift stations that we got rid of last year, were the only 2 that had a reasonable amount of money spent to get rid of the 2. It cost $250,000 per lift station to get rid of the 2 that we got rid of. Those would be even more to get rid of, because Swainford is, you're gonna be digging through people's backyards. Right
First
there
of
is the
all, when
tunnels.
we have to get, we're not gonna use a lift station. We've gotta somehow gravity it.
Right.
I'm assuming you can't gravity the way that it's designed right now, or else the lift station would have never been there in the first place.
Right.
So we're gonna have to acquire some right of way.
Right away, we're gonna be digging in people's backyards, and it's gonna be full. You think Fox Run, people complained about that? Start digging through.
Is it between Claren and Swainford, or is it between Claren, Swainford?
It's all on Swainford, all on the top part of Swainford Drive. If you go down Swainford Drive, the second house on the right-hand side has a lift station in their backyard.
So it's
On the
between
right.
Cynthia. That
That's
goes
correct.
back.
Yes, goes back there. Yes. And money spent in depth, deep, it would have to be deep. This was the clarifier. I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures of those that we're gonna be painting. As you can see, some of the primer and stuff showing through. We're gonna try to paint, we're gonna paint one this year and one next year. I'm estimating probably about $30,000 to have it sandblasted down, repainted, brought back up to where it should be.
paint it brown, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Kinda got by with that a little while. I think it's time that we need to stop doing that. Anyway. 20 years since it's been painted, right? I think we're right in somewhere. But they do use an epoxy.
were you?
They do use an epoxy on that
Paint,
that really holds up well. Anyway, I'm kind of done with wastewater. I also, I wanted to explain that, we could be adding some things into the study on the wastewater side. If we do, it would probably be more in the collection system, on maybe some pipe that's collapsed somewhere, something like that. But the guys are evaluating that now. We also have a company comes in that will be doing some extensive cammering of locations where we get camera to run a lot quicker, a lot faster. Along with our camera, we should be able to determine if we got areas that are going to need some repairs. Up here is what you was asking about, Jeff, major funding. As you can see, the wastewater treatment fund is fund.com. Used to do phase 2 improvements at the wastewater plant. Then everything also, you've got your water capital improvement fund, you got your wastewater operating fund, the water operating fund, and the water capital improvement fund.
Debt service fall off the water improvement because it gives you the real availability from new debt service. But the way Heath is doing it is phenomenal. That's
Yeah, I'd like to try to, or keep that structure in mind of floating short term instead of, 20 years out.
As long as the interest rates stay the way they are, it's great.
Yeah.
You can't, where else can you finance stuff like that for 1%?
I know.
It's unbelievable.
long-term debt in 4 years.
A lot of people, the economy, they were afraid to do things, but I think we were smart in what we did because we made some improvements since 2010. We got low interest loans.
Contractors were hungry.
Contractors were hungry, and that was the time to do stuff like that. We had the ability to do it. When interest rates go back up, that's when things are going to kind of be harder.
That's what hurt us when we first tore it. That sewer plant down there, the interest rates was eating us alive.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
You're doing a nice job of planning for
One
the
thing,
future.
I don't know if you,
Which is great.
we've got that SCADA that we took from Prop One.
Okay,
We could put out in Mid-Ohio.
that's right.
Pray not cost very much. And that would make all except for swing again.
Well, that's good. That would be real nice. That's a good number.
Any other comments or questions? If not, thank you for coming. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
brother-in-law sent me,